Hello, welcome to the video. I'm Melissa, I write books. Welcome. What you're all here for, I wrote, I think about 86,000 words in 1 month while daily vlogging and working a full-time job. So this video is the wrap up, the stats of it all. I'm going to just warn you right off the bat. I am not a stats girl, okay? So I don't really know exactly what kind of stats you're looking for, but I thought I would focus for the first half of the video on the writing side of things. Like we can look at how many words did I write each day? What was my average? How did that all go? And then the second half talking about content-wise, because I did post 30 videos in the last 30 days. Today is the last day, so like the stats might be a little off because I think it'll like translate. And this is actually there we go, that's better. This is actually the 30th day. So technically it's 29 videos, whatever. How did that affect my numbers? Is it like a really good idea to grow your channel to do this? How was it? Right? And then I'm going to just kind of caveat things at the end of like, Alyssa, why did you do this? How did you do this? Should people do this? Vibes. I can also always do a follow-up if you want it, but that's what we're doing. So I'm doing a little bit of screen sharing, which is always a journey. But we're going to start on Pacemaker. So if this is somehow the first video you're seeing, the book I was writing was an adult thriller. I wrote it from beginning to end, and it ended up being, the words that I wrote were 86,189 words. You can see here, my average words per day was 4,788. That I don't think is actually a very fair average. So if we look at the actual days, before we go into this, I feel the need to clarify if you're stumbling upon this, like don't ever compare yourself to me ever. First of all. Second of all, I was using dictation. Everyone who's been watching all the videos is like, yes, Alyssa, we know you've been talking all month about this, which is where you speak voice to text essentially. And my average amount of words is around like, if I were to do a 25-minute sprint, I could probably get around 2,000 words. So this is not typing with my fingers. This is not a number that you should compare yourself to. So starting off on the second, I got 5,800 words. But okay, I didn't start using Pacemaker until the second day. So I think the 5822 is from the first 2 days. Then I had 491, a 0-word day, and then 3,034 on the Tuesday. I think that's another one where I combined Monday and Tuesday because I just forgot. So for Monday and Tuesday, I got about 300,000 words. And then 0 words on Wednesday, and then 20,024 days on Thursday. There's a video on this channel about that. I was at a writing retreat and I wrote 20,000 words. So you can see here the impact that had, because Friday I didn't write any words. Apparently Saturday and Sunday and Monday I also did not write any words, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that this 4,000 on the next Tuesday includes some from Monday, if I'm remembering correctly. I think during this time I also was editing through the dictation because at the beginning I did not have a software that worked super well, and so I had to like go through and fix all of the punctuation and grammar by hand, which took a sizable amount of time. So yeah, you can see I had a 20,000 word day, and then it kind of petered for a few days while I recovered and typed through and edited through that, right? Then we get into what I would say was more of a normal week. So Wednesday was 2,100 words. Thursday was 2,400 words. Friday was 5,000. I think there was a 5,000 word day happening on Cody's channel and Natalie's channel. So I just kind of jumped in with that. And then 3,500 words, 3,400 words, 2,000 words. That seems to be like, if I were to tell you what the most normal weeks of the challenge that are most like the exemplary of how I actually worked, it would be the week of the 17th and 10th, like that, those 2 weeks. My goal was always that on a day where I wrote, I got around 2,000 words. And then if I had more time, or if like somebody was live or something, I would go for just however many above that worked, right? Then we get into another normal week. So 2,100, 2,700, 2,400, another 5,900. That was a day that I really tried to I think, get to the 50K. And so you'll see the 5,900 and the 3,500 on Saturday and Sunday was like a push through the midpoint of the book. And so I just spent more time. It was also around, I think, the 22nd when I stopped caring about words, because I think I hit the 50K on the 17th. And so I had this lofty goal of 75K. I ended up surpassing that, but it's just a number. Honestly, if it was not for like tracking and YouTube and algorithm purposes, I probably wouldn't have even set a word count goal, but it's easy to compare because we're all like, you can see word count so clearly. And then from there, 6,000 words and then 11,000 words. So from the 22nd to the 26th, it was just like more and more every day. The 26th, that there's also a vlog of that. If you haven't seen that one, it's a banger. Essentially, I was at the Dark Night of the Soul at the beginning of the 26th, and I just wrote all the way through to the end. And then I have not written since then. I've written some reflection stuff, but I just kind of stopped tracking, which leaves us with 86,000 words. Which is interesting because if you look at my Scrivener document, which I'm not going to pull up because I'm too afraid of spoiling everything, even though it will all change 100%, that's not what my final word count is. My final word count on Scrivener is actually like 79,000 or something like that. And I think that this comes from, I'm only ever tracking on Pacemaker like the words that I wrote, right? I'm not going back and changing the word count based on editing. So I'm guessing that the discrepancy is in these first 2 weeks before I had the software, where like the second half of the month where it's like really consistent, I was not going back and editing through. I was just dictating and it was formatting it. And so I think the loss of around 7,000 words was in editing through the large blocks of dictation and cutting out sentences and cutting out words. So the draft is not 86,000 words. It's actually 79,000 words, which is actually really ideal for the thrillers that I write. It's a dual POV thriller and it does need to be fleshed out quite a bit, but it could be the case that I need to flesh it out quite a bit and it's at 90,000 words, but it's not. There's a little bit of breathing room and the beginning is very bloated. So I do feel like this book is sitting where I want it to. But you can kind of see, like, I think it was fun to do the 20K day just because obviously it's fun to set a big challenge like that and to hit it. But you can see like the repercussions of that as I didn't write for 4 days after that. And it probably would have been around 20,000 words in those 4 days. So it's like, I don't even think that day necessarily like pushed me over the edge or anything like that. It was a section of the plot where it was nice to go through it all in one day, but it wasn't like this, like, oh, I exponentially made so much more progress by doing it that way. I think I would have gotten a similar amount had I just done like 2,000 that day and like 3,000 the rest of those days, which is, as you can see in the later half of the month, pretty normal. And to give you kind of a time estimate, like looking at these days that are 13 for like the 12th that week and the 19th that week, where I'm getting pretty consistently like around 2,500 words average. I would say that probably took me a total of 30 active writing minutes, 30 to 40 active writing minutes. I did a lot of like 15-minute sprints and then 25-minute sprints that were on live streams, which I think I can get a lot more done in a 25-minute sprint where I'm just alone and I'm in it than I can with one that I'm either live or I'm like live with someone else. I don't think that it's bad to be live. Obviously I was live, I don't know, 20 times this month. And I think the community that you get from that and the burst of motivation and like the collective energy is worth that, but it does always decrease the amount of words I get during that time. So I think that is a better comparison for you to make if you did a challenge like this, is I spent probably 40 minutes writing a day average on these days that are 2,400 words or 3,000 words. Where the days where it's like 5,000 or above, it was probably more like an hour and a half to 2 hours. But if I think back to the first two NaNoWriMos that I did, I was spending an hour and a half writing 1,600 words, like at least an hour, sometimes most of the time an hour and a half. And so it feels a little like, oh my gosh, I got this big word count, but I think I'm actually working less hours than I did when I was typing. So never compare yourself to me ever again, thank you. But I think it's really interesting. And then there's days like, even on the 11,000 day, I think I started those 11,000 words at 7:30 p.m. and I finished at 11 p.m. Like that's like 3 hours of work, 11,000 words. Like that is bananas. And I'm glad it works for me. I know that dictation does not work that way for everybody. So yeah, that's how it went. That's what the stats look like. And now, I think we're kind of going to move into the YouTube analytics side of things. So if we go to videos, We go back down to the beginning. So you'll also notice I changed thumbnails about 5 days in, and that was because my views, we'll talk about views in a second, but I was realizing, I talked to my analytics expert, Brielle, and she said what I'd been kind of suspecting is that if you see the number 17 at the bottom of a video, seems a little bit less accessible. You might think like, oh, I have to go back and watch from the beginning. And the thing about the YouTube algorithm, or the people, like when I'm scrolling on YouTube, I just want to click something. If it's not someone I've seen before, that just like seems approachable. And while you can jump into any vlog, because I do a decent job of introing, or like you can kind of catch on, I realized the numbers at the bottom were not helping me. If you're somebody like Sarah Cannon, Heart Breathings, who I got this initial format from, I think it works because you have, 75,000 people or subscribers already looking for your content and looking for this series that you've done in the past. So anyway, you can see the first, let's see, 8 days were vlogs. And then on the 9th day, I had a querying update. And then we have 6 vlogs. And then we have another like sit down, how to dictate video. And then I had, honestly, I think the rest of these are vlogs. And then I had, a couple days ago, my thank you video. And then my like what to do after a first draft video. And then another vlog. So yeah, what I think is interesting, we can talk about stats in a minute, but I think having the thumbnails really did help. It helped some videos jump out. So if we look at my content, if we look at my analytics, appeal behind the curtain, these are just kind of my general, like in the last 28 days, here's how it went. I got 23.7 thousand views, which is 12.8 thousand more than usual. I think that's only an interesting number if you also make YouTube content. So there you go. My watch hours was 3.6 thousand views in the last month. And my subscribers, I gained 216 subscribers in the last month. And then my revenues there as well, which this is the first time I've ever seen over 100 in that box. And what I think is really interesting is all of these numbers are really great. The 216 is great, but what's interesting is in the month of October, I actually got more subscribers gained in October than I did in November doing daily videos. So what I'm saying is doing daily vlogs is not something that's like going to automatically like be something that automatically gets you a lot of subscribers. I view it more as content that's like for the audience that's already there. Like I think the people who really enjoy the daily vlogs are people who are maybe already subscribed to me and already like liked the vlogs. And also I'm sure there were new people who came who also were looking for daily November motivation for writing. Like this type of content is hard to, as a viewer, maybe you felt this way, is hard to keep up with. And so if you look at the views, I think this is interesting. My first one got like broke 1,000, and then this one is like so close to breaking 1,000, but then it kind of goes down to 700, 600, 500, right? And then we'll have one video every once in a while like break 1K again. So my 20,000 words in one day unsurprisingly broke 1K. My query reflection also broke 1K, which is pretty normal. I think a lot of you are here for querying content, and I have noted that. Or not even like how to write a query letter, but like somebody experiencing querying, that's a reason I follow. There's like people that I follow for that too. So noted. So that one broke 1,000. And then I've had a couple like breach up to like 800, but most sit in the 500 to 600 range. But some, again, when I got a full request, that one bumped up pretty high. When I hit the 50K, that one's almost at 900. And then a lot are sitting in the 5, 4, and 6 range, which is good. But it's interesting because if you go back to my videos in October, I had a really good month in October. I don't know if I was just like big brain or if my videos just really resonated with people. So I think the first October video was this one, which is at 700, pretty normal for me. But if you look at like, I had this Preptober one that was at 1.4. I had my book is bad video at 1.6. I had this one on AI at 1.7. I finished this big revision I was working on, which also broke 1K. And also my Preptober videos did really well. And so my videos before November were consistently hitting about Like if you look like about 700, like just any old video would get 700, right? And then we'd have a couple break 1,000, right? Whereas now with the daily videos, and I expect this number to go up as people catch up. I know of people who are like waiting until they're all done, or like they'll go back and rewatch. I think the daily videos have a nice rewatch quality to them. Like I go back and rewatch Heart Breathings' videos all the time, like the whole, because you can just press play on the playlist and it's like this series of daily vlogs. So feel free to do that. Anyway, but the views are a little bit lower than they are on my, like the month before that I did really well. If you're thinking like, if I start daily vlogging, that's gonna like super increase my audience. It was about the same for me, honestly. And who's to say, like maybe October was just a really good month, and if I hadn't done daily videos, it would have shrunk back down, which is fine. Again, I don't share any of this to be like, I have so many views, or like, oh, I'm complaining because I don't have enough views. I just think it's interesting to reflect, because I always think like, oh, the daily videos, like that's what I'll get all these people. But it's a big commitment to ask people to watch a video every single day, and I get that, so thank you for being here. I feel like there's two different types of YouTube watchers. There's the type like me who I'm like always, like I only watch YouTube, I don't really watch TV, and I'm like always waiting for people to post new videos. And then I feel like there's people who have like a watch list of like 100 videos, and they're trying to catch up. And so I get that it's not the easiest thing to like catch up on, and so I think it's interesting. There's pros and cons. Obviously, one of the huge pros is the AdSense. So I think it showed it here, but my revenue for this month was 100% more than the last month's. Usually in this revenue box, I'm hitting like around $30 to $50 in a month, which again is not nothing. I'm happy to be monetized, but obviously the watch time and the view time and the money, right, is all going to be much higher, because like, sure, it might be 500 views instead of 800 views, but that's happening every day, right? And so if you're looking to up your watch time, great strategy. But it's not like if you start posting daily videos, you're automatically going to like be rich and famous, right? And I don't know, I find this really interesting. And also, it's a similar percentage of views that like break out, you know? Not that like 400 more views is like a huge breakout, but like the 20K words, the 1,000 query, or 1,000 queries, help me Lord, 100 queries, and then like hitting 50K, getting a full request. Like obviously those videos I know are gonna bump up a little bit more, and so it's interesting. Let's talk a little bit about like, is it worth it? I'm trying to think if there was anything else in here that I wanted to talk about, but I don't really think so. Anyway, so I'm so sorry the audio quality has been so weird and bad for the last 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, the real question, do I recommend doing this? If you want to do it, go for it. I love doing it, but I know I am an anomaly, because writing a book, like writing 50,000 words, 70,000 words, however many words you're writing in a month, in itself is hard. And then doing that on top of making a video every day and having time to edit the video every day and like keep up with all the YouTube stuff and like make a thumbnail and like all this stuff every day, it did fill my time. Like I have been working pretty much the whole month, but it's work that I enjoy and work that gives me energy. Like I've talked about this before, but editing YouTube videos for me is not a high energy task, especially this kind of video. It's actually sort of reflective for me. It's creative. It's fun. It gives me a little bit of a break from the book. And so if you feel similarly about video editing, like editing a video doesn't cause you stress, it takes you less than an hour to do it, and you want to do, and you have the energy, and like vlogging is not a high energy task. I know that these are very rare, but vlogging, the way that I vlog at least, is not a higher energy task, because I'm just like updating you on my book, which is something I typically do anyway. I'm a very verbal processor. So I think I'm kind of the perfect storm for doing daily vlogs during the month of November, because I have this dictation thing that it takes 30 minutes to write 2,000 words, you know, like that in itself, wild. And then I also don't find vlogging to be a high energy task. And also the other thing is I don't have kids. I work a full-time job, but it's a very flexible job where I'm remote some of the time. And also I have this past in editing videos very quickly. Like I'm trained in speed video editing. I'm also a videographer and a video editor in my day job. So if you happen to be a similar perfect storm where you have energy to do all these things and it's something that you really want to do, go for it. But don't do it because you think it's going to make you go viral or anything like that, because it is not the case. I've heard someone say this recently, I'm not sure, but a lot of content is like, when you think about content as a YouTuber, I'm either thinking about it in one of two buckets. One bucket is, this is content that I'm making that I think this video will do well in the algorithm and will draw new people to me. But it's also valuable for my audience. Like when I make videos about query updates or like getting a query critique done and analyzing it, like those are videos that I know will do well in the algorithm, and I also know they're a little bit different. Whereas there's also this other bucket of videos that are for my core audience who are already here, and you have to feed your core audience. I mean, I know you guys love everything I make, so I don't even need to choose. But for me, that is writing vlogs. Some of my writing vlogs do really well, but I understand it's hard to watch a channel that's just writing vlogs. And so in order to like gain that, like people to become invested in you, it takes those videos that are a little bit more like 100 queries reflecting, which is also, I think I enjoy watching those from other people when I am a part of their core audience. So what I'm trying to say here is daily vlogging is not necessarily something that's going to be like a thing to reach new people in a way, but it is really serving my core audience, who I do think is here for the vlogs. That's what I love the most. That's what I think a lot of you guys love the most. So, but I also, in the mix of that, included some videos that were like, I got a full request, like querying, right? Which I did. I'm not making, it's not like I'm making that up, but like a querying update, like how to dictate. That video did not do well, but it's fine. And so, I don't know. I think it's interesting, but think through all those things if you want to do something like this. My recommendation, if you want to try it, is practice like editing the video the day that you film it and seeing like how much time does that really take, or do them on TikTok or Instagram or short form where it's just like little clips from the day and maybe a voiceover rather than a full vlog. But I mean, go for it. But I just wanted to be realistic about what this looks like, because I'm a creator who was already at about 1,800 subscribers when I started. So I already had a little bit of a built-in audience. And I think it's easier to have videos blow up, right, when you have a little bit more cushion of subscribers. So did I just become a YouTube algorithm channel? Anyway, so that is where I'm going to leave you 27 minutes later. When am I going to edit this video? But I hope I answered any questions. I think that this is super interesting. In terms of what's next, you guys, this is going to be the first. Tomorrow's going to be the first day I don't pick up a camera and film something in 30 days. Honestly, probably months. But I do plan to take this week off. There will probably still be a video on Sunday. But I'm taking this week off of vlogging and really filming. I have a very busy week at work, apparently, because apparently you can't have just like a chill week. But I do plan on, after that, I'll have a video about where all my projects stand and what my plans are for them. I have a video coming up about the query letter, like the pub tips Reddit, and like going undercover in there, not undercover, you know what I mean? And also just more stuff about, we'll be diving back into gas station, talking about querying, talking about my next plan of revision. And then I'll start filming a Christmassy, wintry, holiday, bigger writing vlog. Nothing during the week this week, I don't think. And then next video will be a week from today on Sunday. So it's going to be weird not talking to you guys for a full week, but I will see you so soon. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you've been here, if you've watched every day this month, or if you've caught up, or if this is the first video you're stumbling upon, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. I will see you so soon. Thank you for an amazing month, everybody. Bye.